Alrighty, no pun intended. Episode number 37. The Olympiad is going on, and it's been a super fun tournament. It's fun to look at the top players in the world. If you haven't heard of 2700chess.com, everyone is playing this tournament. It's like I see one, two, three, four, five. Basically, everyone in the top 10, other than Jan, Vichy, Naka, and Faruja, they're all playing. It's like everyone over 2700 is playing, representing their country. It's always cool to watch it. How you doing, Matt?
Good, Jesse. And I think a crazy thing with this Olympiad is all of these top players, like you sent me a screenshot the other day, all of the top players are gaining rating points. And historically, what we've seen is if you play someone a little lower rated than you, the lower rated player tends to come out on top in terms of rating gain. So kind of cool to see all these top players gaining points by playing lower rated opposition.
Yeah, at this point in time, the top 10 is plus almost 50 rating points,
Cool.
which is crazy. So, Arjun Erigaisi, I think he is straight up undefeated. I guess he drew this round, but before this round, he was undefeated. He's plus 12. Gakesh D, I know that guy. He is plus 16. Notabek Abdusatorov, he's plus 14. Magnus is hanging steady. He's gained a little. Fabi's plus 6. Yeah, it is crazy. Levon Aronian even plus 7. Have you seen any of Levon's game this tournament?
I haven't, but he's an exciting player to watch. One comment I wanted to make though, what do those three players have in common that have all gained 12 plus points?
Oh, they're young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, these are the up and comers. These are the next players that we're going to see in the top three. And they're all getting dangerously close to Hikaru at number three.
yeah, they are. Yeah, Eric Gacy is 10, 12 points away. Gakesh, 12, or no, yeah, 10 points away. Gakesh is about 20 points away. Same with Noterbeck. So yeah, they're right there. I wonder if Naka's going to kind of sit on his rating for a little bit because 2800, I mean, I don't know if he can sustain 2800. Maybe he can. His coverage of the games, by the way, is so good. Like he just knows it's so interesting. He just knows the best moves. He can be shown a position and he's like, oh wait, this move is a blunder. Why? And he just knocks off the next seven good moves. He's like, oh, I see, because I get this big pawn center at the very end and shut out the bishops. Like he can just calculate that. For me, I'm like, it's so far above my head.
Do you think he's not playing in the Olympiad just to do coverage, or why isn't he playing in this one?
I was watching some of his stream, and apparently he's answered this question about 500 times, and he's very annoyed at people answering. But I think he just kind of didn't want to travel. He's a professional streamer, guys. He just plays for fun, so that's probably what it is. He's just doing more of a career move after playing in the SEC. I don't know. That's my guess. I didn't actually get a clear answer on that, but I bet he'd
Okay.
be doing well. Uh, with him on America, that team would be almost impossible. Like, look at Fabi, Naka, Lanier, Wesley So, Levon. Throw in Hans in there as a as a fifth wheel. Why not? That's a really tough team to beat. I think it's maybe only India that can beat them. But right now, India looks absolutely unstoppable. Arjun won his first. Let me bring it up. He won his first one, two, three, four, five, 6 games. He went a clear 6-0 in his first 6 games. And then Gakesh was crushing it too. And they just look basically unstoppable. Gakesh is one, two,
Five and a
three,
half.
four, five, six. Yeah, 5.5 out of 6. So it is crazy to see the amount of talent they have on the Indian squad. And they are like 18, 19. There's Pragnananda, who is, yeah, 19, and they're filling in their weakest player is Vidit, who's number what, like 15 in the world, something like that. 21 in the world. He's rated their weakest link is higher rated than the current world champ. So chew on that for a bit.
That's I like that stat.
Yeah.
Um, Also interesting, which I just noticed, Ali Reza has dropped 2 spots recently, with Kukesh moving up and Noterbeck staying in the 6th spot.
Yep. So the staleness factor, if you don't play, it kind of lose some rating. Lose some place in the standings at least. I think they should do that for UFC. If you're not going to fight anybody, then you're going to just drop rating because you can't just sit on your rank.
Yeah, like a DK factor or something.
Yeah, they totally should. So story of the day today is the top two teams, India and China, met. And you know what that means. Board one for India is one Gakesh D. You probably heard of him. He's playing for the World Championship. Board number
Who
one for
dat?
board number one for China. You probably heard of him, Ding Liren. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it was the coach, if it was Ding's decision, but Ding decided to sit this round out. It looked very weak. I'm not gonna lie. Peter Svidler had an excellent quote on this. Let me just read it to you. I don't think you'll find very many examples of the reigning world champion not playing board one in an absolutely critical central match of the chess Olympiad. For him not want to play Gukesh in a match, China absolutely needs a win. If they, China, want to win this Olympiad, they need to win today. It's very difficult to take points off this Indian team. The fact that he, Ding, is not sitting down to play chess today after the rest day, I think is quite significant. And yeah, he said it. He said it all right there. I think Ding has basically no confidence at all in his game. And it cost the Chinese team today because Gukesh. So what happened was Wei Yi. He basically had to play board one instead of board two. So he was playing Gukesh, and he was in an equal endgame. The score was tied 1.5, 1.5, and he got outplayed in endgame. Gukesh had two knights and I think an extra pawn, and Wei Yi had a rook. And basically, Gukesh found a way to block out the rook and promote the extra pawn he had. But if that was Ding and he held him to a draw there, well, now China's right back in it. But instead, they dropped the entire match and the full 2 points. So now it's looking really like India is not going to be able to be stopped.
And having Wang Yu on the fourth board with a 2637 rating, even though he held the draw, it's like if you're able to slide everyone down a spot, that's huge for the team.
Yeah.
And I think they probably still would have been slight underdogs, but it would have been close, and they would have had a much better chance of winning that match.
Yep. And Ding is one of those players that has not farmed rating this tournament. He's down almost 10 points. He does not even have a win. So he's played 5 rounds. He has 4 draws and a loss versus Lei Liam Kwong. I guess I'm not sure how you say his name. But he lost a heartbreaker last last round. And I think that's why he decided to sit out. We
Ha-
were, sorry, go ahead.
You talked about it last week, but what do you feel his strength level is right now?
He's playing like a 2600, honestly. Like that's been his performance rating. We were just looking at his activity since he won the world championship. So he won in April of 2023. So those games got counted in May because I think they maybe went into May a little bit. And since that May, and since May of last year, he's played only 41 games, just not a lot. And he, in that time, Matt, he has dropped over 50 rating points.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you go from May, he was 2789 in the World Championship. He's 2736 now. So he's down 53 points in 41 games. So he's dropping like over a point every single time he gets on the board. And if you go back a few more months, he was 2811. So 2811 down to 2736. He's dropped like 75 rating points over the course of like a year and a half.
That's such a big drop. And he had a peak rating of 2816 if you go back to November of 2018. And of course, he was number two in the world for quite a while, back in 2021 included.
Yeah, and look at those times when he was playing. This is kind of before COVID. So like in November he had 16 games in 2019. September 11 games, August 19 games, July 9 games, May 19 games, 8 games, 13 games, 10. Like he's played 100 games in that year and he's played only 40 games, since becoming world champion a year and a half ago. You got to think he is just dealing with something or what is happening. Like we don't really know. But I gotta say, the line of him being plus 135 is looking real tough. I think Akesh is more like a negative 300. He seems to be in absolute top form, and Ding is playing very weak.
Yeah, at what point do you just toss out the whole experience factor and say Gukesh D has to be the favorite? I mean, just looking at their current ratings, which we know is a lagging indicator of their strength,
Yep,
Gukesh D is up to 2780 and Ding Liren is 2726. I should have done this for the podcast. I didn't think of it. But if you were to just throw that into like a Monte Carlo simulation, run it out the course of the match, just saying they're the strength of those ratings,
yep.
these are long matches, and it's really hard for a player that's what 60
50,
points lower rated to actually come out on top. Like that's almost impossible.
yeah. And it either everything we're saying is true or this is the greatest hustle of all time and he's trying to get good cash to take it easy on him. But I just do not think that's the case at all. Yeah, and you wonder too. Yes, Ding has the experience. In his IO, the experience factor. But who do you think is hungrier to win this world championship?
Yeah, it's got to be Gukesh D. I mean, Ding Liren, we haven't even seen him really since he's been the champ. And he's not getting out there with promoters. He doesn't have sponsors that we're aware of. I mean, almost nothing. Like he's not getting interviewed by chess.com. Like no one talks about him at all. So
Yep.
I don't know if he even likes being world champion. Maybe it's too much pressure.
Yeah, maybe that's right. And he barely even got into the candidates that year that he won. And
That's
I
right.
mean, he barely even got into world championship because he just got second place in the candidates to qualify. So he just like got in and you know that world championship match against Nepomniachtchi was crazy. There was a decisive game like every single round it seemed like. So that match could have gone either way too.
And I wonder if the quality of that match was the lowest that we've seen probably in like multiple decades. Because if you think of past world champions, I mean, we've had Magnus, Anand, Kramnik,
Yeah.
Kasparov. Like these players are beasts when it comes to the world championship. And then we get this world championship Ding Liren and Jan Nepomniachtchi where they're just blundering back and forth and winning every single game. I mean, decisive games every single game.
Yeah, for sure. It is. It's hard to know because yeah, it's the first world championship in like 10 years without Magnus. So clearly, it's gonna be weaker. Um, so yeah, that is the scoop. I don't think India is going to lose anytime soon. Let's see how many more rounds there are. So there's around tomorrow. There's around the next 4 days. Right now, India is on top with 14 points out of 14 possible points. So they've won every single round. Second place is actually Iran. They have won every single round except they drew to Georgia, which is kind of crazy. Georgia's not all that good of a. I mean, they're a good team, but I feel like Iran should have won that round.
Yeah.
United States, a distant seventh, unfortunately. They dropped the full point to Ukraine, which was a big heartbreaker, and then they drew Romania. So hopefully, the U.S. can beat India. That would be huge for the standings if they get matched up with them and they're able to even play.
Right. But I think how many rounds are there total? Do you remember?
There's 11 rounds total.
Okay. So essentially, the U.S. is probably out of it, right? There's too many teams to pass, or if we went out, do you think we have a chance?
It depends because it's like let's say we're only a point behind. I guess we're 3 points behind India, so yeah, it's not looking likely. But if we get to play India and take 2 points off of them, then it's a lot closer.
Yeah, that's true. And Iran might not be able to hold their second place based on rating. It seems they're outperforming by quite a bit. Uzbekistan, though, I believe they won 2 years ago, and it was
Oh,
really a shock.
oh, did
But
they? Wow.
they're a strong team.
Yeah, yeah. Noterbeck is such a beast. Yeah, China's right there too, though. If they wouldn't have lost today, they would have been right in it too. If
Yeah,
they would have held the draw versus India, then they'd only be a point out. So
we
yeah,
need
that's what's.
Magnus to move to the U.S.
Yeah, I don't think he would. I think he's very committed to Norway,
Yeah,
unfortunately. But yeah, Magnus has been a beast too. He's been fun to watch. He won like very effortlessly today. He drew Parham Magsudlu last round. I guess he has a couple draws this tournament. But yeah, he still gained a little rating like we were talking about at the top of the hour.
it's kind of cool that Georgia's in 11th, and they're not fielding anyone over 2,600, and they're also a swing state. Like, what are the odds of that?
Also a swing state, yeah. That's funny. Yeah, any other surprises? Some teams are just terrible and they forfeit. Like they don't even have the team to field. Like the Comoros Islands, they don't have anyone titled. Their best player is 1700.
Yeah, we need to see if we can sneak into an Olympiad, find maybe get on one of these lower teams on the list.
Yeah, we should have like a Rochester. We should declare independence.
Yeah. Twin Cities Chess League teams get to compete.
What's cool in the women's section is that the Indian women are also undefeated, 14, 14 full points. So they are absolutely crushing it. US is doing well there too. They're in fifth place, but 3 points behind as well.
Wow, that's so good, India.
Yeah. That is the Vichy effect right there. I think he's had a huge impact on the country, and we're seeing that right now. And if you were like building a dynasty, bro, you would totally just pick the Indian team.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
they're if you just had like a first round draft pick, like who would you pick first round draft pick if you're picking for the like
Gakesh.
optimizing? Yeah, I think you have to go Gakesh. Uh,
And
I guess you'd probably go Magnus, but yeah, Gakesh, Pragnananda, Aragaisi, those are all like top five draft picks for sure.
then we got Nihal in there as a 20-year-old and Ronak Sedwani as a 18-year-old. Like no one even talks about those guys.
Yeah, no kidding. Is Nihal from India?
Yeah, Nihal Sarin.
Has he
Um,
played? Has he played for them yet?
I don't know if he's played in an Olympiad. He might have played 2 years ago. I'm not sure about that. But then there's also Pranav V from India. He's 17, rated 2609. So he's the 15th rated junior in the world. No one's talking about him either.
Yeah, geez, India is just absolutely stacked. I think they're going to be stacked for a long time. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, the cream of the crop in India, or cream is rising to the top. It's Arjun, Gakesh, Pragnananda, and they look just unstoppable right now. So it's fun to watch them. I'm not sure who they're scheduled to play against next round. I'm not sure the pairings are out yet, but probably someone near the top. Maybe like Iran. Have they haven't played Iran yet, so Iran is probably next.
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
Yep. Yeah, anything else you wanted to go over, or should we call it there? Yeah, we have a message in the chat. Naka already lost his number two spot to Fabi. Yep, that's right. Fabi's been playing really well. He's really carrying the US. He got a clutch win today to get the full point.
Oh, I did find the pairings. I'll send them to you on WhatsApp if you want
Oh,
to
nice.
take a look.
Yeah, for sure.
So, round eight, board number one, we do have Iran against India, Hungary on board two against Armenia, and Serbia, Uzbekistan on three, United States and France on four, China and Romania on five.
Interesting. France. I wonder who's all on the French team. Looks like they're fielding MVL, Etienne Bacro, Marc Andrea something, and Laurent Frizinet. Okay, so I think the U.S. should be able to handle them. MVL's
Yeah.
a problem, but everyone else, I think we're going to outrate them by like 100 rating points.
And if we put Fabi on board one against MVL, I mean,
Yep.
Fabi's still the favorite there.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, well, cool. All right, well, that is going to do it for this episode of the Olympiad recap, and we will be coming at you next time. We will be talking about the rest of the Olympiad next week, and probably, I don't know, some other news that comes up in the chess world. Seems like there's always something happening. All right, thank you all for joining, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.